was looking more forward to the type of clientele that you have. But I also, one thing that I miss is a portion of that for their portfolio for some clients.
Right.
And so that's what we're wanting. And that's what we're wanting to bring. We're not looking to change this profile of the prosperity group. We still believe in safe money strategies. We will always believe in safe money strategies. But there are some clients' portfolios that need a portion of their portfolio to be in the market. And we would never tell somebody we would never tell everyone not to be in the market.
Of course not.
Of course not. We would love to be, for lack of a better way of saying it, almost like a one-stop shop to where we can handle your entire needs.
Right.
That's the goal we're looking to go to. And I really think that when we get it up and running, it'll be almost perfect because I think hopefully we'll be on the other side of this thing.
I've been bearish in terms of my outlook with what's being done. And what's being done, in my opinion, is the government printing money. That can only work so long. And so what they've done is the government's created a bubble, and they are going to pop their own bubble at some point, probably by ineptitude. Because this is not, I mean, look, with your background, and I want your opinion on this, right? I just want to ask you, isn't it interesting that nobody's talking about sectors? Well, they talk about sectors still, but they don't talk about trends. They don't talk about market cycles. They don't even
They
talk
don't
about
talk about
dollar
trends,
cost averaging.
They don't talk about price earning ratios.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Because it's an insignificant part of the structure anymore. Because they have inflated it so much. I mean, if people thought that the market was inflated or technology market was inflated, 10, 15, 20 years ago, what do they think it is now?
Well, I think you hit it on the nose. It's an inflated market. So in my mind, that means it's not a real market. In other words, it's not sustainable at this point. Now, let's look at a positive. Let's say President Trump gets back in. He strategically affects the interest rates to go lower. He helps us become oil independent. He brings manufacturing back to the United States. He levels out the playing field with tariffs. Well, guess what? The globalists don't want that. But that would solve our problem in the United States right now.
I was sitting here listening to you say that, and I want to say to everybody that's listening out there, and every American that is or isn't listening, why would you not want that?
Well, I just spoke to.
Why would you not want to be independent on oil? Why would you not want to bring it back to America? Why?
I have an answer, Patty. You know what the answer is?
Okay.
It's called legislative greed. It's the politicians are benefiting for from these returns personally. Because if they cut a deal with these other countries, I mean, did anybody profit from Ukraine? I'll leave that question for our listeners to answer. Has anybody profited from the pipeline? Does anybody profit with the corporations taking all of the stuff overseas? Let me tell you what it is. They're taking the money, and instead of paying them to Americans, they're sending the money overseas where they pay half of the cost. Look at the automobile industry. The unions have sold their souls, and yet they sit there and they lie. You know what bugs me, Patty, more than anything else? The majority of the media is lying. The majority of the politicians are lying.
Oh, you said something earlier that um I thought, man, if only that were the case. What you said was um that the politicians represent their delegates. And I was like, oh dear Lord, if only they did.
Yeah.
If only they said and acted on our behalfs.
And on another subject, well, same subject, but isn't it interesting that Puerto Rico went after one of the computer company on the voting for 150,000 messed up votes? Since we're not recording on Facebook this week, I guess I can say it, right? I mean, good old Mark's not going to say anything, but the governor of Virginia has gone back to hand counting.
That is the only way. I mean, and you know what? I was, okay, personally, and I know we're getting close to time, but personally, when we first went to computers, I thought, well, now it will be more accountable. Exactly.
It's as accountable as what I've told you before. Who do you call if there's a problem with your Bitcoin account? Right? All right.
Exactly.
Well, folks, we'll be right back. Call us at 800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com.
Oh my, what you doing? You're telling me they say you're not so well, but you're sheer perfection as far as I can tell. As far as I can tell, you're still smiling while others are feeling sorry for their lives. You're thankful for.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group. And right now, you can still take advantage of some guarantees where you can add nearly 40% into your retirement account. That's not a misquote. That's nearly 40%. All right. We also have accounts that can give you near 8% on a guaranteed basis for income. If you want to learn how to do this, give us a call at 1-800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com.
Experience the best selection of cigars and accessories in the country. Corona Cigar is located at 4142 West Boy Scout Boulevard across from International Plaza, or visit coronacigar.com.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. Israel says it has recovered the bodies of 6 hostages in Gaza. They include a young Israeli-American man who became one of the most well-known captives held by Hamas. As his parents met with world leaders and pressed for his relief, Hirsch Goldberg Poland was 23 years old, and 4 the other hostages were seized by terrorists at a music festival during Hamas' October 7th attack on Israel. Poland's leaders are stressing the need for a strong defense in the face of war in neighboring Ukraine and redress as they led ceremonies today to mark the 85th anniversary of German forces invading and bombing Polish territory at the start of World War II. The Polish president and the deputy ambassador of Germany attended the observance in the town of Wayland, the first civilian target of German bombing in 1939. This is SRN News.
The Secular Crew sees misleading advertising.
It's the definition of what should be fake news. They are legitimately creating headlines that do not exist, running them as ads with the hyperlink taking you to legitimate, we'll put those in quotes, legitimate news sources. The AP, Time, Reuters, all of these, by the way, funded by the Harris campaign.
Secular. Afternoons at 5, right before Larry Elder at 6 on AM 860 The Answer and theanswertampa.com. Helping you get where you're trying to go. Get digital media solutions for your business. Visit surroundtampa.com. Surroundtampa.com.
For today, a mix of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots this afternoon with a high of 89. Tonight, thunderstorms, otherwise clear skies with a low of 76. For tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun with a couple of thunderstorms with a high of 89. Get your weather news when and how you want it wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860 The Answer.
As far as I can tell, you're still smiling while others are.
Welcome back, folks. This is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group, and the song that you heard is a song written by my daughter, and this was when my late wife Marie was battling cancer, and it was a song of encouragement that my daughter wrote called Song for Mama. Very powerful song. And I want to give kudos to my daughter because I'm going to be putting some of her music. She did a live recording, actually a live concert in Hawaii. And as we speak, as we're recording the show on Wednesday morning, she is about to land in Portugal, where she's going to do some singing at a retreat. And she's been doing a lot of singing, and she wrote a little bit of music. And I'm going to do something, and we'll see how it sounds on the radio. This is live, but I'm going to play a little bit of her recording. Let's see if I can do it here. Yeah, this is a recording that she did on the radio, I believe it was. Let me see. And
Those of you that don't know, that's Annie Ellie. And you can follow her on Instagram.
yes,
Does it-
SoundCloud Radio and Instagram. That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it, we'll see how it sounds. So we're just we're winging it here, folks. So let's see what plays here.
Where is your sovereignty? And I know we said if we ever parted, we'd find our way back to where we started. Lay all the cards on the table, like bet on the outcome, but we blinked for a second, and when we opened our eyes, we saw 52 cards pick up. So 52 card pickup. How did we mess this up? We're so close, but we're worlds apart. How did we not see what was happening before our very eyes and not drop into our hearts? Oh.
So, folks, that was my daughter, Annie Ellie, singing a song that she wrote called 52 Card Pickup. And the song, I wish we could play all of it right now, but it's talking about how things have changed in society. It's a very poignant song. And so now you can't tell I'm proud of my daughter, can you? That-
Not at all.
Yeah. And you know what? I believe one day she's going to be on the radio. She's truly talented, not because she's my daughter. She got the voice from my wife, Marie, my late wife, Marie, and maybe a little bit from me. And you know, she truly can. I mean, she writes her own music. She plays piano. She plays guitar. Uh, you know, and it's amazing. And so we're gonna get that out there. And so stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned.
I want to point out one thing real quickly about Annie, and she's not my daughter, so I can't say these things. But you know how the computer system, we just moved offices, guys, and the computer's not 100%, and like it comes and goes and gives and takes.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. She sounded, I haven't heard that song, and she sounded great even then with all that going on. And for those of you that do get to hear it without all that, imagine all these people that you hear sing and they've got the auto tune and etc. And then you go to a concert and you're like, who's singing? You know?
I know.
I know.
Well-
Okay. And so I just want to say that is Annie in the raw.
I'll tell you
know
what,
what I
I'm
mean?
gonna play another
I'm gonna play
minute
another
of
minute
another
of
live concert. So bear with me. This was really powerful, and she played this. And again, she used a special microphone in this live event. So we'll just play parts of it here for our listeners, and you could go. So you could hear a little bit of that. That was a live concert in Hawaii that she sang in the island of Kauai. And that's with a mic. So we're hearing it from a hall, and she had that recorded. And it's you know, it's amazing. So again, folks, keep my daughter in prayer as she's traveling across the globe. And you know, she landed in London, didn't go into London, but she went to London, and then she goes to a little puddle jumper to Lisbon or someplace like that in Portugal. Okay. So she is traveling, and so I'm excited to see what's going on and what'll continue to go on. And I told her to be safe, and so keep my daughter Annie in your prayers. Um, Patty, you know, life goes on, right? Lost my wife 8 years ago, and it's wonderful to see my daughter, you know, going forward with her life. But think of the number of our clients that have had similar events in their lives.
And Greg, this might be a good time for you to talk about the benefits of the P slips, etc.,
Yeah.
that provide for life events for clients because of that, it provided Annie with funds to enable her to do this.
You know, I had a conversation with a listener in Tampa, and served in the military. I thanked him for his service. His first name is Scott. And he was talking about something to benefit his family, right? And I talked to him briefly about the P slip. And folks, by the way, you can go to our website, mymoneyissafe.com. You could look at these strategies. When I say you can look, you can either listen to some of the shows, right? All of our shows are on our website. You can listen to previous shows. They're all titled. TV appearances that I'm making, we talk about different subjects. They're about 5 minutes. There's some YouTube videos that are very helpful. But I want to talk about this real quick. He has a IRA, inherited IRA. Patty, one of the strategies that we use is how to take an inherited IRA and create tax-free future growth or income.
Absolutely.
Now, that doesn't mean you get out of paying taxes. I want to be clear about that. But we have a strategic way. Yeah, you see, if you don't put that disclaimer, people are thinking, well, huh? What? No,
You said that I could do this and not pay taxes.
exactly. So you pay the taxes, but guess what? Going forward, you can put it into an account that'll grow tax deferred and then eventually pay you tax free. Okay. So the point is that's a great strategy with the inherited IRAs. And this is something, we're going to talk about because people aren't taking advantage. So let me give you an example. It was a big deal. I remember they were pushing the big stretch IRAs before where you could take income for life. And it sounds great, but some of these distributions on large amounts of money were insignificant. They were like $3,000 a year, maybe $5,000 a year. They didn't have that much impact. But in our strategy, Patty, we can take that money strategically over 5 to 7 years or the entire 10 years and create a legacy that's tax-free or income that's tax-free. So, folks, if you have an inherited IRA and you want to learn these inherited strategies, then give us a call again at 1-800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com. Patty, in your words, describe to me the benefit of like an account that's earning 8% compounded that a client can take income. They hear my take on it. I want to hear your take on what we tell our clients.
I will give you my take in a moment. I'm going to give you our clients and prospects that come in, sit with us and become clients take on it.
Okay.
Their words are, they look at you and they tilt their head and they look at you again. They go, well, I mean, Greg, everyone I've said this to said this. That's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get it. And it is a no-brainer because are there accounts out that may give you more interest than 8%? Absolutely. Are there accounts out there that promise you they can give you more than 8% compounded? We've never seen it.
Right.
And that is the difference. And one of the key things in building wealth is, except for your Rockefellers, is consistency.
Right.
That compounding is much needed. And all it takes is sitting down and go through it. It's exciting. That's one thing I love about this part of what we do is you can build a great foundation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love that. And if the market does more than what the 8% is, then that's gravy. But say Chicken Little was right and the sky really is falling. Well, guess what? You're still going to get your 8%.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it for some, and again, it depends on the individual. For some clients, I love it for, yes, their entire portfolio. Do we believe on diversification? Absolutely. But sometimes if what your goal is and you've got to have income and the only thing you have right now is Social Security, then this is what you need.
This is an account that provides a hedge for inflation. So think about it.
Absolutely.
If the rates do drop and you can lock in at 8% for 10 years, Patty, 10 years, that's a huge number that people need to take advantage of.
Right. And you only do not need that if you truly believe that taxes will go down, cost of living will go down, and the true rate of inflation really is 3%. Now, if you believe that,
Right. No, I know.
Exactly.
Well, listen, folks, we are almost out of time this segment. Call us at 800-440-0434. Go to mymoneysafe.com and ask for our new book, Prosperity Plan ABCs. Be right back.
You are. You are of my confidence. You are the star.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group. If you would like to get a copy of my new book, Prosperity Plan ABCs, that talks about some of our safe money strategies, then you can request your copy at no cost to you. Call us at 1-800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com. It can dispel some of the false things about annuities that confuse people. So, folks, if you want to learn about these strategies, give us a call. Look forward to it.
Well, summer is upon us and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people and you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. ReliefFactor.com, 1-800-4RELIEF, 1-800-473-5433. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
First glimpse of true beauty. The hard time.
Welcome back, listeners. This is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group, and the song that you heard was the memorial song to my wife's memorial when she passed away, my late wife, in 2016. And my daughter, Annie Ellie, wrote it. It's a very, very powerful song. Again, we're going to be putting it on the website. And so I just wanted to share that with you. That's obviously very personal, but wanted to share that with you. It's a very powerful song. It's actually on YouTube. You can actually see it under Marie Ellie Memorial, and it has a video of the family. And we were at Anna Maria Beach, Florida, where we did that. And I'm not being somber here. I'm just sharing this with you because cancer has affected so many people, and I'm blessed enough to have my daughter to have the skill to write a beautiful song, and you see the whole family. But anyway, if you want to look at that, you can go to Marie Ellie Memorial on YouTube. You'd have to look it up. It has a picture of my late wife, and then it's a video. Anyway, that's the song that's there. But we're going to be putting that on websites and links, and we'll have links from our website, mymoneyissafe.com. Folks, taxes right now. One of the things that we said was the fact that if Kamala Harris were to get in there, our taxes are going to go through the roof. Patty, she's talking about taxing capital gains before you sell them, which is absurd. I don't know how she'll even get it passed through.
I started to, I mean, my mind went down, talk about a rabbit hole. I was like, an unrealized, okay, I understand that you have a CD. It is not in an IRA. That is a fixed account. You are guaranteed you're getting that rate. You're paying it because you know next year you'll have more. That value is not going to decrease,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay. Are they telling us then that they guarantee that home values will never go down?
No, they don't care. They want to grab
Because
they want to grab they want to tax us on a perceived gain, not a real gain.
I understand that. But what I'm saying then is, okay, then if its values go down, then give me a perceived write-off the next year.
Well, no, they don't want you to write anything off. Why do you think they don't want the P-slip? I mean, look, these people, do you know what happened in Rome? What drove Rome to destruction? Their Senate got corrupt. All right. And so so the social media of Rome was the Colosseum. So it was thumbs up or thumbs down, and you either fed a Christian to a lion or whoever. All right. And I was going to say feed a Christian or a Jew, because the Jews were not all, but some of the Jews were part of Christians. They weren't called Christians. They were called followers of Yeshua or the way. But this is what it was. The Coliseum was the equivalent of social media. So when the senators got corrupt, then what happened? The moral fiber of the country sank. And within a short period of time, Rome was no more. Our system of government is based very similar to the system of government of Rome. It was supposed to be a representative form of government. And when the representative stops representing its constituents, then what happens is it goes into a form of totalitarianism. And that's what happened in Rome. You had dictators. Now, I listened to somebody who said that one of the candidates was a dictator, was going to be a dictator. Yet the other candidate has acted more like a dictator than the one they're calling a dictator. So the fact is, it's called lying. And the problem, if we don't get a grip on this, it doesn't look good. So what do we do? What do we do? Solution: protect your money. Why is our website called mymoneyissafe.com? Because you got to have a portion of your money in safety. Make as much money in the market as you can. Great. But don't bet your retirement on it. That's stupid. Sorry, I don't mean to be condescending. But it's use common sense. Have a portion of your money that's safe, but not safe where you're burying the money in the ground, but that you're going to get a reasonable rate of return. And with all of these benefits, I spoke to, I had a Zoom call with the client. You were on it yesterday with them, and they have a pension. And we were talking about, okay, should he take a single life payout? Well, I explained to him, if you take a single life payout and you die, money's gone. The pension company keeps it. So, we need to look at the strategies to see, does he make more sense to do a reduced portion? So, but here's the benefit, folks. If you have a pension, typically, if possible, it's better to take a
Good
lump
morning.
sum portion of that pension and be able
Same
to
right back at you there,
put it into
Doctor.
something that's going to
How you
create
doing, buddy?
what I call a
Pretty
pension
good. How about
surplus.
yourself?
Okay, am I
Now,
coming through all
Do
right?
you know, Patty, right now,
You look good and you sound good.
and maybe you
All
can pull it
right.
up, but do you realize that
Let's
pensions
hope
in
the
the United
equipment
States are at
holds.
risk like they've never been at risk before?
Well, that's always
These
a wild card.
overinflated pensions from
Well,
California, we
now
have a
that I know
client
what
that
it
has
is, I
that.
can always run
When I looked at
downstairs
the
and
numbers, I
reboot.
said, look, we can't
Yeah,
even
that's like a
compete with
once
that,
every
you're better off
probably
taking
5
the
year kind of
income,
thing
because
that might
keep in
happen.
mind,
Yeah, isn't that weird?
that
I've
state's
never had
having
that happen
problems, so don't
before.
be surprised if
At
the
home, I've had to
extension
go
is
out a
for
couple
lifetime.
times, but not
It
very
may not
often.
continue for a lifetime, and that applies to
Usually it's
pensions in
associated
New
with some
York,
nasty storms and a power
pensions in
outage.
Connecticut. So there's
Yep.
risk there like I've never seen. So these are things that people
So
can
you
do.
say, well, we're going
They
to start
care,
with
but they
the
can't
normal
really take
music, and then we're
advantage
going
of
to go
protect their
to
money like
a
that.
little music after the news on the bottom of the hour, and during the music, I'll hit that splash, and then we'll go right back into your story, whatever that is.
Including
Okay,
different
whatever you
funding.
want to do, just cue me when you're
Think about
ready.
this: market volatility,
do.
inflation, systematic financial risk, and investment strategies.
All right, did you have your
Patty,
cigarette?
my son works for a
No, actually, I
prominent
have not
school,
yet. I was going to go out and
okay,
do that in just a couple
Baylor
minutes. I had
High
to talk to
School.
Jeff. I'm doing Jeff's show
And I'm not talking
right
about
after
Baylor High
yours.
School.
Yeah.
He works with our
So there'll
company.
be a
He's
couple of
also a
minutes in
baseball
there
coach.
when I'm going to send you a message on your
3 state
chat here,
titles.
probably that says I'm going to
Last
Jeff.
year he had
Get
several
him set
kids
up, and then I'll come
drafted
right back to you.
and
Okay, buddy.
scholarships. But
But that won't
you know
happen
that
until like
many of these
10
schools,
to
I'm
or
not
whatever.
talking specifically
I'll
about
let you go
Baylor
do
because
what
I
you're
don't know
doing.
what the arrangement is. But I
Now
know
I'm going to
give
have
you a
my
minute.
cigarette, and
that
you get
have
ready, and I'll
endowments
talk to you
that are
after the weather.
100%.
Okay, bud.
Mm,
Okay,
wow.
100%.
You would, you know what? How can that be? How can you be a fiduciary and that be the thing to do?
Well, Patty, it's the mindset. It's the
But
mindset. Now, you know what a hedge fund is, right?
oh yeah,
A hedge fund hedges. What we do for our client in a personal way, it's similar to a hedge fund in our strategies. Let me be clear, we are not a hedge fund, but our strategies mean that you're hedging against loss. But these hedge funds don't hedge where they don't make money. They just protect the money so that a portion of their money is got great opportunities for gains, but then they've got a foundation of money to replace any losses that take place. That's what they're doing. They're hedging their bets.
right.
Our clients, folks, if you are not hedging your retirement, you are exposing your retirement to unfound risk. Folks, we're not exaggerating. You could add 40% into your income. You can add 25% into your income. You can have accounts that will give you a guaranteed 8% for income. Why am I touting income so much, Patty? Because if the market takes a hit and somebody's retiring and they're prepared to retire at 65 years old, early or a little bit later, if they don't have their income solved, they are at risk of being affected by 2008 like times or worse.
Absolutely. And something has got to give in the country. Something has got to pay off our debt. And if Social Security were to not be there, a lot of people are going to be hurting. That makes that hedge even more important. It takes it from a hedging position to one of your major positions.
I am looking at the US debt clock. Okay.
I hate it when you do that.
I know. Federal spending is at 7
Mm.
trillion. Federal deficit actual is 2 trillion. So that's 9 trillions. Do you know how much the total tax revenue is? 5 trillion. So we are $4 trillion upside down. They could double the tax, but it wouldn't keep up with the debt, the deficit. Well, not only the deficit, but the interest on the interest. So you see, the taxing, doubling the tax on our countries, on our citizens, is not going to work. Folks, we've never seen, well, except for the last election, supposedly, that somebody ran on increasing taxes and won. Okay? George H.W. Bush said, no new taxes. Read my lips, no new taxes. Guess what? He changed his mind, cost him the election. I personally think he didn't want to win the election, but that's another story for another day. But the point is, we are being asked to believe stuff that's never happened before. And guess what, Patty? We're going to base our strategies on truth and on facts, not on lies and suppositions.
Absolutely. Just the fact, man.
Just the facts. Patty, we got about 30 seconds left. Any closing comments? And I'll close this out.
I just want to thank you so much. And we love our clients. We are so blessed. And if you think that we can help you, we would love to talk to you. Greg's, you're down there in Florida. I'm glad that you're able to get back out. We miss you here, but thank you so much.
Get a copy of my book, Prosperity Plan ABCs. Call us at 800-440-4434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com. We look forward to hear from you. God bless you and see you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Prosperity Hour today. I hope you get value of what we talk about. And if you want to learn about these safe money strategies and take advantage of these interest rates while they are high, take advantage of it by calling us at 1-800-440-0434. Again, I want to thank you for tuning into the Prosperity Hour today. And we look forward to hearing from you and helping you. Take care and God bless you. See you next week.
The preceding is sponsored by Prosperity Group, LLC, and is a pre-recorded program. To learn more, visit mymoneyissafe.com. That's mymoneyissafe.com.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka explains the Democrats in 2024.
Maybe the people in the middle, if they watch it, if they can understand what they're seeing, they'll get who the Democrat Party have become. It's not JFK's party. It's not Scoop Jackson's party. It is a party of America hating un-American losers.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Weeknights at 9, right before Kevin Jackson at midnight on AM 860, The Answer and TheAnswerTampa.com.
Tim Cooper here with Health Plan Network. With gas prices, food prices, and interest rates going up, here's a way to save money. My Freedom of Choice Health Plan is a private plan that doesn't force you to pay for things you don't need, like maternity coverage. It's a PPO plan, so you can use any doctor. You only meet a deductible if you go into a hospital, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. This plan is guaranteed acceptance and available all year round, so you can enroll today. One more thing, the monthly premiums are not tied to your income, so no surprise tax bills at the end of the year. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call me, Tim Cooper, at 813-212-2580, 813-212-2580, or go to healthplannetwork.net. That's healthplannetwork.net, and we can custom design a plan that's managed by you, not the government.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, he wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-965-1433, 800-965-1433, 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
WGUL and W229DJ Dunedin. Powered by Prosperity Group. Contact Greg Ellie today at 864-989-0176.
Experience the best selection of cigars and accessories in the country. Corona Cigar is located at 4142 West Boy Scout Boulevard across from International Plaza, or visit coronacigar.com.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. Donald Trump is walking a fine line on abortion as he seeks re-election.
The former president has said abortion is not a big factor in this year's election, but it's a ballot issue in several states, including his home state of Florida. Last Thursday, Trump got an earful from pro-life leaders when he seemed to say in an interview that he would vote in favor of the ballot measure and repeal the 6-week ban. But on Friday, he told Fox News that he'll be voting no because he thinks Democrats are extreme on abortion. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Israel says it has recovered the bodies of 6 hostages in Gaza. They include a young Israeli-American man who became one of the most well-known captives held by Hamas. As his parents met with world leaders and sought his release, Hirsch Goldberg Poland was 23 years old. Have Green New Deal policies really reduced greenhouse gas emissions?
The answer would be a decisive no, according to a recent Wall Street Journal story. Headlined, "Most climate policies don't work." It cited 1,500 programs in 41 different countries, finding only 63 instances which provided any measurable reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, often with significant cost-to-benefit imbalances. Commenting on his daily briefing this past week, Dr. Albert Mohler offers this criticism.
What we have are many politicians on the left who are pushing this because, frankly, it's the way to expand government.
Both Senator and Vice President Kamala Harris has sponsored and helped implement policies to promote electric vehicles under provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act and the $1 trillion Infrastructure Act. George Williams reporting.
Iran's president says his country needs about $100 billion in foreign investment to achieve an annual target of 8% economic growth that would be designed to reduce double-digit inflation and unemployment. This is SRN News.
The Caribbean is calling. Dennis Prager here. Join me on an unforgettable cruise to the Caribbean this November. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. We'll cruise to the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, Turks and Caicos, and much more. Stroll through Curaçao's iconic pastel-colored shops and snorkel in Bonaire's world-class coral reefs. You'll enjoy some of the most delicious cuisine aboard Holland America's Rotterdam, a fantastic destination itself with riveting shows and breathtaking views. We'll be joined by special guest Sean McDowell, and we'll both share fresh insights, current events, discuss happiness and our future in America in light of the election. November 29th to December 8th of this year. Secure your spot today by calling 855-565-5519 or online at PragerCruise.com.
Helping you get where you're trying to go. Get digital media solutions for your business. Visit surroundtampa.com. surroundtampa.com. Just when you thought your smartphone couldn't get any smarter, now you can add the AM 860 app with local news, national headlines, and commentary. The answer is smart. Adding the AM 860 app to your smartphone is genius. Get it now at the Apple App Store and Google Play.
For today, a mix of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots this afternoon with a high of 89. Tonight, thunderstorms, otherwise clear skies with a low of 76. For tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun with a couple of thunderstorms with a high of 89. Get your weather news when and how you want it wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
And go, Doc.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Bill, your radio MD. I got Ken with me, and we are doing a show. We're streaming live, and we're also on radio. And we're on what stations, Ken?
Well, we're right here, AM 860, The Answer, and then some others.
Do we have an FM station?
We do. Wait a minute.
94 point.
Wait a minute. Neither one of us can ever remember. 93.7. That's it.
93.7. All right. And
for our friends in Dunedin, especially.
And, you know, we reach a fair distance out for a little old stinky vanity show.
Well, people are clamoring for more of the Doc.
Yeah. And I mean, we got people listening in Wisconsin. So there you go.
I know. That was amazing. I was really floored by that one, but great.
And Arkansas, my ex-neighbor, he lives in Arkansas now. He listens. So,
well, there you go. That's the power of the internet, man.
I'm telling you, we're getting it out there. We're pumping it.
That's right.
So, interesting situation. I had a patient who I was following for cardiac and medical clearance for one of the orthopods, Dr. McConney, and he did a total knee on the guy a couple of days ago. And the guy has really bad pain. He can hardly move around. And that's problematic because we want him out of bed, and usually we don't keep people in the hospital more than overnight, and sometimes not even that. If you have outpatient, you get sent home the same day for a total knee, which is pretty amazing.
Yes, it is.
But you know, I was up and walking the next morning after I had my knee, and I don't know why this guy is having so much trouble. Now, he did have a history of blood clots in his leg. He has some genetic disorder where he tends to form blood clots, and he had significant blockage in the veins in his leg. And of course, that causes swelling because you don't have the adequate return. And he saw the vascular surgeon who tried, I think, to put some stents in the veins. They're doing that now, trying to open them up. We didn't used to be able to do that, but the techniques are getting better. So I don't know if he's got another clot, and I'm going to have to check that and see what are some of the other things that can cause pain post-operative is nerve damage. And I don't know exactly how to assess that at this point because there's still so much swelling. So, you know, if you touch him and you say, "Can you feel me touching you there?" He may say, "No, I don't feel it," or "Yes, I feel it, but it's more than usual." And so you have to wonder, is that because the nerves are stretched by the swelling, or is that really damage to the nerve? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's improper alignment. So we got x-rays and everything looks good and the surgeon's excellent. So I'm not worried about that. Infection, it's kind of early for an infection, but I guess it could happen and that'll cause problems. And then there's, of course, psychological factors. Some people don't tolerate pain as well as others. He's a big guy, so he's carrying a lot of weight, and that goes against him.
How old?
I would say he's in his late 50s, early 60s. But as you can see behind me, if you're watching on the internet, on Facebook or YouTube.
It doesn't even look like a knee anymore.
Yeah, it's a cartoon view of the knee, folks, and it's an open view, so it shows the arthritis of the knee before and after the knee replacement. And if you see the plateau there on top of the long shin bone.
Okay.
And then you see the the two kind of rounded things on top of that. That simulates the femur, which is your thigh bone. And so your thigh bone sits on top of your shin bone, and it's a hinge joint, believe it or not. Only instead of having a pin through it, it's got cartilage and ligaments and everything around it to hold it in place. So, a hinge joint like a door, you got a pin that goes down the middle, but of course, we don't have that. So you have to hold it together somehow, and then it rocks back and forth like that. And if you look at the sick knee, you'll see that the cartilage has come off the bone, and there's deterioration of the bone itself, and you can have torn ligaments inside the joint. And the meniscus, you can see little tears in the meniscus, which is the tough fibrous ring that everything sits on, that the femur sits on. The thigh bone has to have something to sit on. I mean, if you had bone on bone, Ken, it would quickly erode away.
Okay.
So this is a really miraculous procedure that's been developed over the decades, and it's gotten really, really good. It's probably the most successful of the orthopedic surgeries, and it certainly helped me a lot.
How much pain?
Well, the first few days you're hurting. I mean, it's one of the most painful orthopedic procedures, probably only outmatched by the total shoulder. Shoulders are tough, and they call it a reverse shoulder, but basically they go in and they put in a new joint socket in your shoulder that comes off of the scapula, which is your wing bone in your back, and then they put a new prosthesis in the head of the humerus, which is the long bone that goes from your elbow to your shoulder. And that's very painful. But this is painful. There's no doubt about it. I needed narcotics. I couldn't have made it. But I got myself up and walking, and that's an important thing, is that you get moving. And I think that the orthopods will tell you the least amount of postoperative problems are in people who get up and get moving right away.
And how long before you feel like it's an old knee that you don't even notice it anymore?
Well, the first couple of weeks are pretty much painful, but it gets better with day by day. It decreases with the swelling going down, and I would say that it took I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, but I was dancing.
Oh,
I was up and dancing, so it didn't bother me that much. And you can still occasionally tell it, but you can't really tell it any different than when you had the osteoarthritis, and it's certainly not as bad as that. Occasionally, you'll get a little tendon or ligament that's acting up and says, "Hey, cool it, dude." But,
now, we've never talked about my knees, but there's no pain when I'm walking, but I can't get up and down. So what's causing that?
Cigarettes. Your heart and lungs.
So it's been my knees.
Oh, your knees. Oh,
the knees.
Your knees. Well, that's a lack of muscle strength. And
so I'm just lazy.
Well, it could be that too, and it could be that you're smoking sitting down too much. You need to get up and walk around while you're smoking.
I'm always standing when I'm smoking.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear
I
that.
can't smoke inside anywhere anymore, not even in my house. So I got to go outside and walk around.
So the problem is that as we get older and we are not doing as much, we're not exercising as much, we're not doing yard work, and we're not walking or riding our bicycle, the muscles in our thigh get weaker. And so then it's a little harder to get up. Now, it could also be some osteoarthritis in your knees, so that when the ligaments and tendons are pulling on the knee, that you're having some unconscious discomfort, and that's making you not want to get up. But
all right, well, then I'll just lay there.
Yeah, just lay there and make sure your wife has plenty of smokes and a cigarette lighter by the bed, and
the remote nice close by, and I'm good.
And you'll be okay.
A pizza box off to the left would be nice too.
So I'm confused about Trump his stand on abortion. I guess he met with the conservatives, as we heard on the news right before the show, and they want him to be um, more dogmatic about it. And I guess we've got something coming in the election here in the Florida Constitution to change it so that I guess abortions are okay up to 6 weeks. Is that my understanding?
That's what it is right now.
That's what it is right now. What do they want to do now?
I think back to 15 or something like that.
Oh, okay. They're going to change it to even more. So initially Trump said, I don't have a problem with that, but now he's saying, no, he doesn't want that. I think he's waffling a little bit, trying to, play to all of his constituency. Will that work? I don't know.
Trying to pull in some independents.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to work. And I saw a good article in the BBC about whether or not the independents were swayed by Harris's interview, and most of them were not. And they thought she really didn't address any issues, and she didn't have anything impactful to say. And a lot of these are young guys. So,
Well, men have always been strong for Trump, all the time, always.
So, and these are independents. They're not sure who they're going to vote for.
Yeah, well,
but
they're running out of time to decide.
Oh, hell, you can make a decision when you go in the polling booth.
I think a lot of folks will be standing there saying, which one, still at that moment.
Yeah, and it's a tight race now. I mean, how long it's going to stay tight, whether she'll hold up in a debate or whether she will even debate, I doubt it. But
I think the debate's going to be the deal breaker for both sides. See how they do.
Yeah, and I think the thing that Trump has to do is stick to what he has accomplished and not to attack her too much because she's a girl and
don't get personal with her.
Yeah, they don't like that. It's one thing if two guys are going at it, but
you don't want to be mean.
You don't want to pick on some poor girl.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Hey, what can I say? We're still like that. We're still very much in the 1950s in many ways.
Yeah, and I watched television from back then and Perry Mason and all these shows. I can't really see that there's a whole lot of difference in the way men and women treat each other. It's still pretty much the same, and the women still.
Women were, I think, were a little more treated a little more respect back in the 50s, I think, than they do in the 70s. I think it started to change.
Is that when they started handing out riding crops to the women to herd the men around?
My wife didn't get hers till the 80s, so yeah.
Oh, that's when you got married.
Well, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. All right, so I get a text the other night from one of our busybody neighbors who said there's no chlorine in the pool, and apparently at our townhome, our guy that was doing the pool, his service quit, and we've got a new person coming supposedly tomorrow. Any rate, so I went up and double checked it, and sure enough, there's no chlorine. So I ran up to South Pinellas Pool and got a couple of 2.5 gallon jugs and put it in. Next morning, it looked good. I took a sample up there, and they said, "Well, yeah, you look good on the chlorine, but you need a little acid." So I got a gallon jug of the muriatic acid, which is basically hydrochloric acid. I don't know why they call it muriatic, but. So I went there and people were swimming and they were all at one end in the shallow end. So I just walked around and spread it out over the deep end. And
with everybody in there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a 50,000 gallon pool. So
okay, well, yeah, it's pretty good.
It's huge. And it's like 25 yards long, 20 yards long. So at any rate, one of the neighbors called the Gulfport police and wanted to file a report for the criminal act of putting acid in the pool while people were swimming. And so I got a call from the investigating officer.
I'll bet.
And he said, well, he did talk to other people, and they said that you were very safe, Doc, and that you put it in the deep end, and there wasn't anybody down there. And I said, yeah, I mean, I would not have put it anywhere where there were people. And it's a big pool, and it disperses fairly quickly. And if you take it and you just dump it in one place, it's going to take about 30 minutes. And of course, muriatic acid is heavier than water, so it sinks to the bottom and it takes a little while for it to disperse. But at any rate, he said, I don't think there's anything criminal here. And some of your neighbors defended you. So, yeah, well, these are the same people that if there was no chlorine in the pool and the pH wasn't adjusted, they would claim that they got some kind of skin infection because the pool wasn't properly maintained.
That's right. Yeah.
And so what do you do, Ken? I mean, I feel responsible. I'm the senior health officer here. There's no other doctors in here that well, we have one who's retired, but we don't have any other doctors, and it's incumbent upon me, if I'm on the board, in my opinion, to make sure things are safe.
Well, Doc, I tell you exactly what you do. I'll tell you exactly what you do. You suit up, you get on a diving board, and you jump. There's your sound effect, Doc.
Yeah, but guess what, kid?
Yeah.
There's no diving boards anymore.
Well, you just stand on the edge of the pool and you jump.
Just do a cannonball.
I just like playing the sound effect here. So.
Yeah, splash. At any rate, so that's the latest in the hood here. And then they're out to get me, Ken, but they just can't seem to do it.
You really need to start a podcast about all these people.
Yeah, I do. I need to and invite them over and find out what their beef is. Well, basically, their beef is they're not in control and they want to be in control because they want to do things for themselves. They want to do what they want to do. They don't want to do what the statutes and the bylaws say.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And they don't want, they had like a little mafia gang. They'd rotate taking membership on the board. And so somebody would put up a flag out in the common area in front of their house. And then they'd say, well, the board said I could do it. Well, no, the board can't do that. And it wasn't the board anyway. It was one person on the board.
So was your neighbor. That's right.
Yeah, they're just telling any lie they can to have their way. And then you say, well, you can't do that. And they say, well, the state statutes and the federal statutes say I can fly a flag. So then I have to go and read all that. And you can fly a flag on certain days according to the federal statutes, but there's a height limitation and there's a size limitation, and it cannot be permanent. So you can take a stand, one of those big heavy lead stands or metal stands, and you can put up your flagpole on your front porch or in your driveway. But you got to take it down afterwards. And people are drilling into the stucco. And now they don't own the stucco. The stucco's common property, like the roof. And if you drill into the stucco, guess what you allow to get in there?
Well, water
and bugs.
Sure.
And then they have termites, and then they want the community to pay for the repairs. Not our responsibility, idiot. You drilled the hole, and it's not your stucco to drill the hole into.
I would love to see your board meetings. I'll bet they're a lot of fun.
Oh my God.
You idiot.
Oh God, people are yelling and screaming. One guy used to charge at people and cuss and yell and scream. And when I became president, I said, if you do that, Doug, I'm going to call the cops and have you arrested and taken out. And I haven't heard anything from him. He charged me a couple times at the beginning, but now he's kind of cooled down.
You have to go there armed now at the HOA.
Yeah. You have to hire a security patrol for the annual meeting. It's craziness. I went to the annual meeting, and the other two guys were out of town, so they did it on Zoom. They're like, Handelman, you're really brave.
Well, no one's going to hurt the doc.
We hope not.
Not going to happen.
You never know. I had one guy come down here yelling and screaming one night, you son of a bee, you dropped nails in my driveway. And I was 8,000 miles away in the South China Sea, but he was sure it was me, and he was pounding and screaming. What do I want to do that for? I hardly know these people,
Right. That's so weird.
What are you going to do?
I don't know, Doc, but I could never do it. I don't have the patience to deal with people like that. I would tell them exactly what I'm thinking, and that's always bad. That's why I'll never be a politician.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, you have to have pretty tough skin to be in politics.
Oh, yeah.
It's, I mean, you have, And you have to have a strong stomach too, because you're going to see and hear a lot of things that are really horrible and disgusting and illegal, and you got to be able to weed your way through all of that and stick to your morals and values.
Well, that's the hard part.
Yeah,
you
hell,
get
I
sucked
gave-
into it. You know, you get sucked into that lifestyle, that money. Okay.
I gave mine up. I just go and rob their homes when they're not here.
Oh, well, yeah, that's sure.
That'll teach them to criticize me.
You need a
I
new
have
TV.
now
Just
have
go next
I
door.
now have 7 big screen TVs
For sale on eBay.
on eBay. I told them I'd sell them back to them, but
Well, sure. Called blackmail.
yeah, yes, it is. It's called
Find your TV back.
extortion.
Yeah, well, that's right. Pony up some dough.
So I don't understand what all the hoopla is over the Arlington Seminary situation, where one of the employees at the Arlington Cemetery said one of Trump's people pushed him aside. Have you heard anything about that? I mean,
I know what the original complaint was. I know they were taking pictures in an area of Arlington where you cannot use those pictures. You can't take pictures there. You cannot use those pictures for any political purpose. And that's the part. Not that they were taking the pictures at that point in the cemetery.
Oh,
they had been invited there by the families. And certainly you've got a former president there. You're going to want a couple pictures. That's fine. But what they were not supposed to do was take them and put them in some political ad. And I guess somebody did that. I don't even know if it was a Trump team. It might have been a PAC or somebody like that.
Yeah, but I think the guy made the complaint even before they posted any pictures. I think probably the media was there.
Oh, I know they were the Trump entourage was informed that they could not put it on. They could take pictures, but they could not use them anywhere else. So I'm not sure.
But if the press is there, I mean, you can't stop the press from being there.
Were they there? I'm not sure.
I think so. I saw a video on a couple of news channels, and I don't think that Trump would have mailed them that, and CNN.
Probably not. No.
Everybody would put it on for him, but I don't know.
Well, I was reading something from the CNN, so it's suspect to begin with.
Yeah, it's really iffy, and so somebody pushed somebody. And
Allegedly.
I think the other aspect of it is, I mean, the guy just had an attempt made on his life, so I'm sure his security detail is
a little hyperactive, you think?
Hyper.
Yeah, it should be.
If you approach the president to try and say, hey, you can't do that, I'm sure you're going to have a couple big guys stepping your way.
There'll be a discussion.
There'll be a discussion.
You may get hurt.
So then Kamala, I'm not sure, is she for or against fracking?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows for sure. Now, did you know that fracking is also lateral drilling is considered fracking?
Yes.
You know what lateral drilling is?
Absolutely, yes.
You go in at an angle, and I was talking to some oil guys in 2012, and they said, "Hell, we can put a wellhead on the shore in Florida, and we can drill out into the continental shelf, and we can get oil, and there's no threat to the marine environment." Can you believe that? That's pretty cool.
It is. That's why I don't understand all the hubbub about not drilling. I mean, it's not Texas anymore. We've got the 400-foot tower digging down into Jed Clampett's land.
Yep.
Jed lived in North
lucky.
Carolina, though, I think.
I always hated him. He was so lucky.
I was kind of envious of the Clampetts myself, tell you the truth.
Yeah.
What a waste. They really don't know how to use that money at all.
Yeah, they even had their own concrete pond, so they
That's
had
right. The big concrete pond. Yeah,
Yeah,
they really could have bought a new truck, though. I think.
Yeah, I think so. But I like that truck. I don't know if any of you guys remember the show.
Granny, and they didn't even have a seatbelt on that rocking chair.
No, they would have gotten a ticket today.
In California, are you kidding? That thing would have been off the road in no time.
Speaking of California, Gavin Newsom called a special meeting of the state legislature to discuss the gas prices being higher by $1 than the rest of the country. And of course, you know who's to fault, who's to blame.
Trump?
No, the gasoline manufacturers.
Oh, okay.
plants.
I thought they were California. Don't they blame everything on Trump?
Well, yeah, but I mean, only because Trump's friendly with some of the oil people. But I got a feeling quietly Gavin Newsom has some stock.
You think he's got some Exxon stock somewhere?
I think he's got some Exxon.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit. No.
It's like my father. He hated all big corporations. They were all taking advantage of everything, but his pension plan was loaded with that. I'm like, Dad, I don't get it.
Well,
Anyway,
it's just a portfolio, son. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
I'm going to spend it all. I'm going to spend it all anyway. You'll never see it.
Nope, we didn't see much. We tried to shake him down while he was alive, but he got cagier with his declining years. He wouldn't give up.
Went on a run from you, did he?
Yeah. So at any rate, Newsom says that the companies that are distilling and the petroleum plants that are making the gasoline, that when they go down for maintenance and repair or cleaning, that they're jacking up the prices. And he said they're doing it intentionally. And so they're going to have to figure out some way to step on the oil companies, on the oil plants, not the actual drilling company, because I don't think they allow any drilling anymore in California. Last time I was out there, all the wells were sitting idle. But
are they running out of oil around the California area?
With the cost of their energy, it's gone up 40-50% in the past few years.
Yeah, I guess so.
Of electricity, because they're trying to do it all
on the wind.
Yeah, come on, you can't. Maybe if everybody got out in blue.
Maybe if we turned the entire state of Utah into a sunbeam or something, a sun collectors, we would be able to power something. Maybe Las Vegas.
But California is. And still they're the biggest state, Ken. So they pay, even though they only pay their fair share of the federal income tax, they still pay a lot of income tax. And of course, they have a lot more industry, so they get more taxes are paid by their corporate entities than most other states. However, that's not a matter of good management on the part of the government of California. That's just the size of the state.
But they're creating brownouts. I mean, they must see that. How could they sit there and create brownouts out in California just because they're trying to make this switch over?
Well, not only that, they still have to buy energy from their neighboring states,
which is more expensive because it's a spot price.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got to pump it further, so you're going to have substations and all that. It's really not easy. And you think about a city like Los Angeles, their water, it all comes from hundreds of miles away, and their electricity comes from hundreds of miles away. So they're paying a lot for their infrastructure. Is it worth it?
Not to me.
Not to me. And then on top of that, the Trump tax cuts are due to expire. Remember, he passed and it lowered taxes for all of us.
Right.
And now the Democrats are saying, well, they'll keep the part for under $400,000. Yeah, right. That ain't happening. And so if your household income is less than $400,000, then they're not going to raise your taxes. But that's not true, Ken.
Hey, they wouldn't lie to us.
They've never lied to me.
No politicians lie.
So we've got this whole thing coming up. So if the Democrats get a hold of the House and the Senate and the White House, they're going to undo all of Trump's tax cuts. And the other thing that Trump's tax reform did is it made everybody equal, so that you can only deduct $10,000 or $20,000 for property tax, for interest on your home, for your state and county taxes, and so the people that live in the high real estate areas, they're not going to be able to write off their mortgages the way they used to, and they're not going to be able to, if they're paying $50,000 to $100,000 in property tax, they can only write off 10 or 12. So,
okay, yeah.
And what that did is it leveled the playing field. So now home prices everywhere are starting to equalize out. And Trump's a pretty smart guy. He was pretty shrewd. I know people think he's an idiot, but if you look at what he did and you look at some of the things that were passed under his tutelage. They're pretty insightful. They're pretty, and that I think that is the idea. If we're going to be a democracy and we're all going to be the same, then let's all be the same.
Are you ready for a little break, Doc?
I am. And what are we giving away today?
We are giving away as always, two Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs. That's Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs. They're big and beautiful, and they're just what you need on a warm Sunday morning. Now, to win, be the first caller with the correct answer at 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. Here is the question. It always deals with something we talked about in the first half of the show. Why did somebody call the police on the good doctor?
Yeah.
Was this weekend? This weekend this happened?
Yeah, last night.
Last night, okay.
I got a call about 6 or 7 in the evening from the constable here in Gulfport.
The constable. Okay, very nice.
Well, the policeman, I call them constables.
All right, Blue. Let's see here. Why did somebody call the cops on the doc? If you know, give me your first caller with the correct answer at 877-969-8600. That is 877-969-8600. Anything else, Doc, at this moment?
727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. We'll be right back.
Bet.
Experience the best selection of cigars and accessories in the country. Corona Cigar is located at 4142 West Boy Scout Boulevard across from International Plaza, or visit coronacigar.com.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. Israel says it has recovered the bodies of 6 hostages in Gaza. They include a young Israeli-American man who became one of the most well-known captives held by Hamas, as his parents met with world leaders and pressed for his relief. Hirsch Goldberg Poland was 23 years old, and 4 the other hostages were seized by terrorists at a music festival during Hamas' October 7th attack on Israel. Poland's leaders are stressing the need for a strong defense in the face of war in neighboring Ukraine and redress, as they led ceremonies today to mark the 85th anniversary of German forces invading and bombing Polish territory at the start of World War II. The Polish president and the deputy ambassador of Germany attended the observance in the town of Wayland, the first civilian target of German bombing in 1939. This is SRN News.
Dr. Bill for Bay Area Medical, located at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Pete, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Full service clinic with x-ray, heart imaging, ultrasound, stress testing, and minor surgery. We provide quality health care in a warm and friendly atmosphere. We are multilingual, well-trained, and certified. Most American insurance and new patients accepted. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care, 727-384-6411. 727-384-6411.
Dr. Bill here. With social distancing and sheltering in place, telemedicine is here. Bay Area Medical Home of Can Care Clinic offers telemedicine for new and established patients. You can see me without an in-office visit. Schedule an appointment at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. When it's time for your appointment, type this web address into your cell phone or computer web browser, doxy.me/Bay Area Med. A cell phone works well and is all you really need. For computers, you need a web camera and speakers. We'll give you this address when you call for your appointment. We accept most insurances and travel insurances. Canadians and visitors, please call your travel insurance company for an authorization number prior to the visit. Copays and deductibles apply. Self-pay rates are available. Just ask. We accept credit cards, PayPal, and Stripe. 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. My friends at St. Pete MRI and Sleep Diagnostics are your best choice for state-of-the-art MRI, CT, and sleep studies. Quality unsurpassed. 25 years experience makes St. Pete MRI my go-to imaging center. Self-pay rates are competitive and out-of-pocket cost a fraction of a hospital. Conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandy. 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
Helping you get where you're trying to go. Get digital media solutions for your business. Visit surroundtampa.com. surroundtampa.com.
For today, a mix of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots this afternoon with a high of 89. Tonight, thunderstorms, otherwise clear skies with a low of 76. For tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun with a couple of thunderstorms with a high of 89. Get your weather news when and how you want it wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
Go, Doc.
And I'm back. This is Dr. Bill, your radio MD. We're having a good show today. Very interesting. Did we get a winner?
We absolutely did.
All right.
Tim Merritt in Lutz. Tim Merritt in Lutz. You were adding acid to a swimming pool while a bunch of people were in there because he was trying to take them out.
Yeah, Tim, thanks for chiming in on this, and we hope that you won't call the police on me either. So,
But don't put any more acid in the pool when people are in there. People won't call the police on you.
You know, if I really had a reason to hurt somebody, I would have just poured it right on their heads.
That's too obvious.
Yeah, I mean, would you? Well, yeah, I guess you got to be a little sneaky about this.
Yeah, if you're going to commit mass murder in a pool, you really got to.
Oh my God, unbelievable!
Well, Tim Merritt, congratulations! Those 2 mugs are coming out to you, and thanks to everybody who called in and tried.
Yeah, Tim, thanks a lot, buddy. We appreciate you being here.
Mm-hmm. He said he loves the show, by the way.
That's great, and we love you, Tim.
Tells all his friends about it. You should do the same, folks.
Yep. And tell your friends and neighbors. And I got to buy some more mugs. I'm running out of mugs, Ken.
I know. When I was over there Tuesday, it looked like the pile was getting a little low.
Yeah, I know. I gotta do something, but I have to sneak up on the wife because you're talking about $7,000-8,000 for a couple of thousand mugs, and they're not cheap.
Good PR.
And that's coming from China too. Do you know the Chinese invented porcelain? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they invented it. And
what's it made out of?
Porcelain of course, it's going to have some calcium in it. It's going to have some clay, and they have different formulas that they use, and some of them are secret.
Like the Ming Dynasty, I guess, had some great porcelain.
Yeah, porcelain and China. And, I don't know if I told you this, but that the Chinese have been doing mass production for centuries, that the Delft pottery, kind of blue and white with all the little windmills and everything on it.
Sure, I've seen some, yes.
Comes from Holland. Well, they would make the proofs in Holland, and then guess what? And this was like in the 17th century, 1650 onward. They'd put them on a ship, send them to China. The Chinese would mass produce them and send them back.
Really?
Really?
No kidding. They've had cheap labor for a long time there in China.
Well, yeah, I mean, cheap labor.
Yeah, Norwegians aren't going to want to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good reason to keep the Chinese hungry because they'll work cheap that way. So. All right. Now, listen, New York Times has added again. I don't know if you remember when Geraldo Rivera did the expose on psychiatric hospitals back in the early 60s. But now there's an expose on Acadia Healthcare, which is one of America's largest psychiatric hospital chains. And they're accusing Acadia of keeping people against their will to make money.
No.
Well, we know that this goes on. Now, how much, how often, how egregious is it? I don't know. But the New York Times is going after them. And of course, you're always going to find a nurse that's going to complain and say, yeah, this is going on, or a social worker. But then they have interviewed patients who wandered in for psychiatric help, but got admitted to the Acadia Hospital from the emergency room, and then they couldn't walk out on their own. It was a locked building or a locked ward. And we do actually lock a lot of the facilities. You probably didn't know that, Ken.
No, but I would think it's wise.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want people wandering in
and out.
Yeah, or out. Yeah,
in and out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, especially if you have medical psychiatry and you have a lot of demented patients and people who have the inability to make judgments properly. But of course, that's not the people that they're talking about. They're talking about people who came in for routine health care or medication adjustment and got admitted and couldn't get out.
Mm-hmm. For how long?
I'm sorry?
For how long?
In Florida, you can only keep somebody on a Baker Act or an involuntary admission to the psychiatric hospital, I think for 72 hours. And then after that, you have to let them go unless you can show that they're still a threat to themselves or other people.
So courts would get involved probably at that point.
Yeah, the courts can get involved, but it's a long process, and it takes time and it takes money because you got to hire an attorney. It's like going for guardianship of a relative who doesn't want you to be their guardian. That's a long process if you have a fight going on your hands, and you have to pay the attorneys. Guess who wins?
It's expensive. The attorneys always win.
The attorneys always
always win.
So Acadia is getting bad press, and I don't know what they operate here in our area, but they do have hospitals in Florida. And they're going after the New York Times is going after them because, of course, they never did like psychiatric hospitals. A lot of the Democrats probably should be in psychiatric hospitals and locked up. So, and I saw that over and over and over again, like my sisters, they're, especially my little one, she really needs to be
man, okay.
ball and chain somewhere. But they're afraid, I think that if they have somebody in front of them who is a foil for them, and then they can defend that person or people or groups and say, well, they don't deserve to be locked up because they're not that crazy. They're no crazier than me. And, well, I rest my case.
I'll keep the doors locked anyway. So.
And I think that with the deinstitutionalization of psychiatric patients over the past 50 years, because the Democrats think it's, cruel and unusual, and the Republicans don't want to pay the fare, we've got a lot more people on the street who are crazy. And I don't think there's any denying that, Ken.
No, not at all. That's why I say better safe than sorry. So keep the doors locked.
Yeah.
If they
And
take it out
Gavin
for
Newsom,
72 hours, then they will take care of it in 72 hours. Nobody's dead.
And even in California, the legislature and Gavin Newsom, they're going to pass legislation that if the cities in California don't start cleaning up their homeless and getting them off the streets, the state's going to withhold funds.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yep.
Where are they going to put them?
Nevada.
Nevada? Why? Well, what's wrong with it? Why Nevada? It's got Vegas and everything. They want to send them to Vegas. That's what we don't need. It's some more mental problems in Vegas.
Well, you know what we could do? The Grand Canyon's pretty wide open. We could just fill up the Grand Canyon.
Awfully deep. Yeah. That's not good either, Doc. See,
that's not nice.
That's not a good solution either.
I shouldn't say things like that.
You get on TV doing stuff like that, and not in a good way.
No. So the changes in the tax laws, if they do come in, they're going to affect areas like California more than say Georgia or Tennessee, because it's going to be the higher income areas, the areas with more expensive housing. So in Florida, it's going to be Miami. Unbelievable what people will pay for a condo in Miami.
What are they paying now with all the HOA problems and everything?
Oh yeah, and so your HOA dues, if they were $1,500 a month 5-10 years ago, I guarantee you they're $3,500 now.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people can't afford that, Ken. They bought these places when they were getting ready to retire. They're on fixed incomes, and these big jumps, they're just not able to handle it. So you've got a lot of foreclosures, I'm sure.
So if you got a lot of money, if you got a lot of cash on your hands, you can take that kind of monthly payment. You're going to end up with a steal. You're going to get some great properties with some terrific views.
We have, I don't know, about 15 households in our 62 household development that are behind on their dues. They owe money.
Mm-hmm.
And one person owes $5,000.
Wow. Whoa.
I don't know how they're going to catch up on that.
Yeah, if you're on a fixed income, yeah, ain't going to happen.
And what are you going to do if you live in San Francisco, where there's high salaries and property is extremely expensive, and the employment rate is falling, and especially in the tech sector because big companies are moving out.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a hard time there.
Well,
course,
maybe
they're
the
gonna
market will just balance itself out naturally. That's what we do. in this
Yeah, naturally means they're going to stick their hand out to the federal government, and we're going to subsidize. That's the natural course of things. You know?
That's the natural order of things.
We're going to bring in $5 trillion in taxes, and we'll spend $7. You know, but and then on top of that, there's a big split, a big rift in the Silicon Valley now. You know, the tech guys, some are for Trump and some are for Harris. Well, you know that the Jewish side of the family and the tech area, they're all going to be Democrats and they'll be for Harris, and they think Trump's crazy. And then Elon Musk and his gang, they're like, hey, he's going to do more for us than Harris. And but Harris is from that area, and she likes the tech people. So maybe if she does get something passed, there'll be a carve out for these guys. You know, they've been
probably. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they had a lot of carve outs when they started up, when they were you know, young tech companies. They got a lot of money, just like the wind industry and the solar industry and the electric car industry. You know, they're getting a lot of subsidies from the federal government to start up.
Yeah, that's right.
The ecologically healthy industries are getting subsidized. So, and like the news said that we heard at halftime, there's not a lot of proof at this point that all these eco-friendly movements and industries and electrical cars have had any impact on the environment.
Very little, minimal. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't believe it to begin with. It's like recycling. I think that some things are sensible to recycle. Metals, because it takes a lot of energy to take metal out of the ground.
Right.
And plastic, only not because it's more cost effective, but just because you get it out of the landfills. But the rest of it, I mean, burn it. You know? Use it for fuel.
That's right. Absolutely.
Which is what we used to do, and I think we still do. I think after they take out all the things that are recyclable,
Goes into a landfill or something. Yeah.
yeah, well, people are mad about landfill. So if they don't use it all in the landfill, they'll burn it and create electricity.
These people who are mad about everything, why don't they just come up with some ideas of their own? I mean, where do you want us to put it? You don't have to burn it. You want us to dump it in the water. You can't bury it in the ground. Can't shoot it off into space. What's your solution? You know, why don't we just put some folks on the radio for that? That's what I'd like to hear. Then, you know, give me your solution. Stop just complaining.
The other thing we could do is we can get Joe to find us some expert, and he can come on the show and talk about it with us.
There you go. Yeah, we could do that.
You can ask Joe if he knows anybody, and maybe the governor will come on.
Oh, I'd love to have that.
Any rate, so you've got all these people that are fighting over Trump and Kamala Harris. You know, kind of reminds me when I had two nurses fighting over me in the hospital one day. I felt really, you know, important and special. I'm like, oh my God, they're fighting over me.
Stroking the ego there. That's right.
I saw him first. Unbelievable.
I'm going to check on my buddy here. I'll be back.
All right. You're going to be, am I going to be on my own?
Yep, you are.
All right, folks. Then Ken's got to run and take care of another show. So I'll fill you in on a few little quickies before we take off. The Gaza health department, you know, the Palestinian health department under Hamas, they said that they had a case of polio in a kid. And so now they've got a mass immunization program going on to immunize all the kids in Palestine. And they're saying that the occupation by the Israelis is interfering with that. And the Israelis are saying, no, it's not. You have certain corridors and places you can go to and get your kids immunized. So we've got to fight there. And of course, the World Health Organization is sticking their nose in it because they don't like the Israelis. They don't like the Americans. Who do they like? They like the Arab world. They like the communist world. They like the repressive regimes. And I don't know why, but apparently they do. So is there a real threat for polio in the Gaza Strip in Palestine? I don't know. I mean, it's like hearing about 60 or 70,000 Palestinians who have been killed by the Israelis, but they don't have any bodies to show. There's no biomass. Where's the proof? It's just all empty claims. And people say, well, why would they lie? You tell me, why would they lie? They lie because they don't want to be occupied and they want the world to feel sorry for them and help them out. And I don't think the Israelis are doing that. They don't care if the world feels sorry for them or not. After the Holocaust, they're going to defend themselves to the last man, and I don't blame them. So then in East Germany, we've got the extreme right-wing parties that are defending Nazism and some of Hitler's programs. I haven't heard anything about anti-Semitism, but they're for Russia and against the Ukraine. And remember now, Russia and Germany have been fighting wars off and on for centuries. So I'm not quite sure how that plays out, but they want to end all of the immigration and kick out all of the immigrants who are causing trouble and who have come in and snuck in illegally, just like here. And they want more accountability in the tax laws and in the use of the taxes, and cut down on all the money being spent on the green movement. And you can't blame them for that. That's important to keep tabs on these startup industries that are claiming that they're bringing and doing great good for us when we're really not sure, when we really don't know. I mean, the proof just isn't there yet. And so I'm not saying that I am for a fascist state in Germany. I would have thought they'd learned their lesson after World War II, but they're very focused, smart people, and they'll get their blinders on and they won't see anything but what they want to see and what they think is important to their own survival. And that's what these right-wing guys are saying, is they're saying, Germany for Germans and not for anybody else. Well, we say the same thing.
We've heard that before too.
We just do it a little differently. But I'm not surprised that they would have this resurgence and revival of the ultra right-wing movement. I mean, there's always been an element of that in Germany, and we've seen it over and over again. So I'm not surprised, but I would hope that they'll temper it, because I would hate to see another world war. And if you remember, World War I was a fight between Germany and France and Germany and Russia. Same thing with World War II in Britain. And so basically the Teutons and the Slovaks have been fighting over Europe and who's going to control it. And neither the Russians are controlling it nor the Germans, although they both have pretty healthy stakes in it. So we don't want to see the Germans provoke the Russians, but we don't want them to encourage the Russians either.
That's right. Exactly.
And then Israel's becoming a no-fly zone. You know that.
I hadn't heard that yet. I did hear that Iran wants $100 million from the world. Did you hear that this morning?
Yeah. What are they going to do with it?
I don't know.
Make more drones?
Make more drones. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
They must be running out of cash. The Houthis aren't cheap. They charge a lot to.
That's right.
Wage war on us.
And Hezbollah keeps, they keep shooting those rockets. They need more of them. So
yeah, who's going to make all that? And we may have hit their drone factory, and you just haven't heard about it yet, because we've been known to sneak in and do things.
Well, they probably wouldn't announce it.
No, they wouldn't announce it because it would be too provocative. But
I'm sure that Biden is caving somewhat to the military, and they're saying, look, you're going to have to do something. You can't let these guys just walk all over us. But if you remember what Trump did when ISIS was on the rise, remember that?
Yeah. What? Like, well,
I mean,
but it was on the rise.
Obama said there was nothing we could do, and Trump went in and we wiped them out.
So, yeah.
And we killed 200 Russians in doing so.
That's right. Well, they were in the wrong spot and they wouldn't leave. So,
well, they were mercenaries. They were Russian soldiers that were
they were hired. That's right.
They were hired. So you would pay the Russians to send you some soldiers, and you'd give them a little incentive, and they'd come and fight for you. And the Hessians, the German Hessians who fought in our Revolutionary War, they were mercenaries. Ken?
That's right. We had mercenaries, sure.
Yeah, the English paid them to come over and fight us.
Wagner for the Russians, they were mercenaries.
Yep.
I'm not sure they're doing anything now, but
no.
Doc, we got about 45, 50 seconds left here.
45 to 50 seconds. Well, remember, folks, do get that COVID vaccine, especially if you're over 60, if you got chronic problems, lung disease, et cetera. Cuts down on your risk of being hospitalized and your risk of having post-COVID complications. And unfortunately, the Paxlovid has gotten really expensive if your insurance company doesn't pay for it. So make sure you get a plan that pays for it when you go shopping.
10 seconds, Doc. So wrap it up, buddy.
727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Ken, next week.
Say bye, Doc.
Bye, Doc.
Hello, Jeff. Oh, we are waiting to sell some stuff or find out what it's worth at least.